Hello and welcome along to Aston Villa from the stands. I hope you're well and I hope you're enjoying your day. Thank you for watching the show. As always, make sure you smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, as well, get involved in the comment section, whether that's on replay or live in the chat. We got a lot of Villa stuff to discuss again today. Look, I've had a little bit of controversy on X today, aka Twitter. I've not been happy with the publication of what TNT Sports publicised about the Champions League. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Once again, we are seeing mainstream media bias. We're seeing the absolute loving of the Cartel Six, and we're seeing ridiculous PR strategies that I'm not happy with. So that's number one. Number two, KDB is still being monitored, apparently, and that's something we'll look into. Again, it's really weird. Napoli, if they sign KDB, could potentially be creating an all-time ex-Premier League 11 in Serie A. And, of course, as well, another thing we'll be talking about is that Bournemouth must-win game tomorrow. So make sure you lock in. Big up to everyone watching. Smash the like button. And we're going to get straight into the story as discussed, which is all about the TNT publication. I'm fuming. And I'm jealous. And there's two reasons why I'm fuming and I'm jealous. I'm fuming at the way in which apparently the mainstream media have already made up who's in the Champions League spots. I've had a lot of abuse, a lot of negativity coming from my post, but I stand by it. And second of all, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of Tottenham. I'm jealous of Manchester United because one of those two sides will be winning another piece of silverware after having a dusty season, a terrible season. But second of all, they have the passage into the Champions League, which is something that as a Villa fan, I'm absolutely craving. I absolutely am craving Champions League football now. After watching the spectacle midweeks of the Barcelona and Inter Milan games and the Arsenal PSG, and obviously our incredible home time against PSG, I want more of that. I want more nights where we beat Bayern Munich. I want more nights where we go away from home in the Champions League and play Club Brugge off the park and absolutely dazzle. I want those nights. But without further ado then, let's get into the controversial tweet. And I want you guys to give me your honest thoughts and opinions on it. Again, as I said, the amount of post interactions on this has absolutely split opinions. So let me show you the original post on this one. And big up to Black Country Villain. Big up to Vamos VJ as well. Hope you're well. As I said, we're streaming it slightly later tonight. So yeah, thank you to everyone who is locked in and tuned in. And here is the post. Okay. I've got a big issue with this post. 6 Premier League teams will be in the Champions League next season. Absolutely spot on. There will be 6 Premier League teams. There will be the 5 who qualify through the Premier League, and there'll be automatically Spurs or Manchester United for winning the Europa League. So we will have 6 teams in the Champions League. Now, for English football, that's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible that we can have 6 teams in the Champions League. However, I am a little envious because I want Villa to be there. But it seems that TNT Sports have already made up their mind who is in Premier League, going into the Champions League. Have a look at this. What do you notice? What do you notice on the poster? I see Mohamed Salah. I see Declan Rice. I see Erling Haaland. I see Alexander Isak, but a little bit faded. I see Kieran Dewsbury-Hall in the background there of Chelsea. And then I see Bruyne and I see Heung-min Son. 6 Premier League clubs in the Champions League. That's fine. But I see a big problem. Can anyone else see the problem? Well, I see the problem, and I'm absolutely furious at the problem. It seems the TNT Sports have decided who's already in the Champions League. Apparently, according to TNT Sports, Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa have not made the Champions League. So news warning to everyone. Villa have not qualified for the Champions League, neither have Nottingham Forest. That's news to me. So what's the point in playing this Bournemouth game tomorrow? Because it doesn't matter. Because TNT have already told us that we haven't made the Champions League. Now, I tweeted this, and I'll show you my tweet in a second. And big up to everyone, big up to Meeks, big up to Michael as well, saying even Josh seems to have been smashing up the contents lately. I appreciate it. Nobody gives an F what TNT think. Well, I don't. But I also want to show you that, again, this is bigger than just TNT Sports. This is the mainstream media's narrative. This is where you need to remember something called the Greedy Sky Cartel 6. This is where you have to lock in and see it for your eyes. We've already seen the corruption of the Premier League rearranging Tottenham's game for Friday, the 16th of May, when it should have been played on the 18th, with less than 2 weeks. And now we're seeing, apparently, we are now seeing who's in the Champions League. I'm absolutely fuming. And this is what I tweeted. It appears Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest don't exist. And people wonder why we moan about the TV greedy cartel corrupt 6 when you see graphics like this. Now, I stand by this. I stand by my tweet. I stand by my stance on it. And I really, really stand by the fact that, once again, Aston Villa are being completely overlooked as a contender for Champions League. Now, I'm not asking for, I want TNT's validation. I want Sky Sports' validation. But what I want is fairness. What I want is, then, a fair promotion of this race. What I dare to see is, I do not want to see Sky Sports or TNT ever advertise in the last 3 weeks the race for Champions League. And I do not want to see Aston Villa or Nottingham Forest included that, because that will be the biggest hypocrisy I've ever seen. Don't you dare, Sky Sports, don't you dare, TNT, advertise Aston Villa or Nottingham Forest in the race for the Champions League. Because if you're lazy enough to put a graphic out like this, without the representation of those clubs, it's not hard to do. You can easily add both of them. You can easily add a Forest and Villa player in the graphic. And don't you dare try and use it as your TV advertisement. Now, there'll be people on here, like I got on Twitter, who absolutely tell me, I've had people tell me to stop crying. I've had absolute difference of opinions on this one. And just to show you the breadth of interactions on this tweet, to sort of show you the sort of, again, the level and scope of opinion of this, as you can see here on the screen now, I've had 84 comments, 62 retweets with quote retweets, 1,000 likes, and it's had over 138,000 views. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this isn't to sort of blag or boast or say, hey, look at me, I've got a bit of interaction on X from a post. No, this is to show you the absolute range in opinion. Over 1,000 people have agreed with what I've said about Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa. But there have been some absolute madness in the comments. Mate, it's just a graphic, stop crying, as one of them. This one. They have just used the current top 5 and then added Man U and Spurs. Why is that a problem? Moan about something else. So I put, so the season is done and we don't need to hear anything about a race for Europe. Which is true. Which is true. We don't need to hear about it. If we're just going off it's the top 5 and they've added Man U and Spurs, then I don't want to hear about the race for Europe. Yeah. So again, people coming at me with really weird, illogical things. They put the current top 5 and 2 clubs in the UEFA final. So the 7 clubs most likely to get 6 places. What are you going on about? And again, the absolute disrespect I'm seeing. And by the way, a lot of these people are Spurs fans, Man United fans, other fans. They don't get it. They don't see it because they're not Villa fans. You know what I mean? They're not doing it. Again, Dan, scandalous, not to mention your boys Nottingham Forest. This biased promotion of certain clubs is beyond the joke and just ruining the game in this country. 100% agree. And like, percent are either in the current top 5. I think it's such a weird argument. I think it's such a weird argument for people to turn around and go, listen, you're not even in the top 5, so why are you worrying about it? Comes back to my point. Don't advertise Villa or Nottingham Forest to be in a Champions League race or the race for Europe. Now, what is the money on Sky Sports tomorrow broadcasting the Bournemouth game, the 5:30, as Aston Villa's race for Europe or race for the Champions League? What's the money on it? I will hear it, I will see it, and I bet you it comes to fruition. And I'm going to be really upfront and honest about it. I'm going to be really upfront and honest about it. If I see that, then it's an absolute joke, and it's hypocrisy. So whether people like it or not, whether people think it's an overreaction, you have to realize that we live in a really silly, corrupt footballing pyramid right now. And it does make me wonder again about this Super League. It is absolutely rife of trying to support, help their teams. And I'll tell you what, there'll be organisations, the FA, etc., who'll be absolutely delighted that Man U and Tottenham will get a passage to that Champions League final, despite embarrassing Premier League form. So, look, on one hand, I'm absolutely fuming with the way in which Aston Villa are being sort of disregarded for this Champions League race with 3 games to go. Now, big up to everyone in the chat, by the way. Thank you for all being in here. And, of course, make sure you're dropping a like. Meeks has said, I think it suits us to come under the radar. I don't necessarily disagree with that. But what I do have a problem with, Meeks, is, let's keep it consistent then. Let's keep it consistent. Let's keep it consistent with how we are promoted as a team. And, I don't want to hear about Champions League or Aston Villa in the same sentence then from any mainstream media for the next 3 weeks. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah, we'll go on to the game tomorrow, AVFC 85, a bit later on. But, yeah. So, on one hand, I'm fuming. And then the other hand, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of Manchester United and Tottenham. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Why am I jealous? They're in the cup final. Straight up. They're going to win a trophy. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Manchester United need to win that final. We cannot have Spurs winning that final. That would be one of the worst outcomes that can happen. Second of all, the fact of the matter is that despite Manchester United having a dusty season in the Premier League, they seem to still pick up trophies. They won the FA Cup last year under Erik ten Hag under similar circumstances. So Manchester United winning trophies, poor season, you can sort of cope with it and go, it's a sort of United thing. Spurs to win that cup and finish in the league position they have will be absolutely horrendous for Aston Villa Football Club. If we don't get in the Champions League and Spurs do, that will be a hard sour grape. So I'm jealous that they get a chance to win a silverware, but I'm also jealous that they get that righteous passage to the Champions League. We've worked our balls off this season. We've come close. We've got, contended, but we may fall short just at the final hurdle. And it baffles me in a way that still you get automatic entry from winning the Europa League to the Champions League. Now, I've got to ask people this. Do you think that is the right outcome for these type of trophies? When you win the Europa League, do you think the prize of winning it should give you automatic entry into the Champions League? Is the level of the Europa League competition merit-worthy of entering the Champions League? Now, I'm not saying that because Spurs and Man United are in it. I'm saying it because out of curiosity, we saw Bayer Leverkusen fall short in the final last season. And they lost to Gasparini's team, didn't they? I just think sometimes the golfing competition of Europa League to Champions League, some people think there's not much of a difference. Some people think there's a massive gulf. But is it right that the prize of winning it gives you automatically entry to the Champions League? Because what Man United and Spurs have shown you is basically put all your eggs into one competition. Don't worry about your league form. Don't worry about how you perform domestically. Because if you go and do well in your European Cup competition, you can get a better outcome. Now, fair play to them, again, in a sense. Ange Postecoglou may pull off the biggest blinder of all Peaky Blinders. This guy may be the biggest magician that Spurs have ever seen or witnessed. Because this guy may actually have worked out the solution that no other Spurs manager has ever done through Harry Redknapp to Jose Mourinho to Pochettino to Conte to Nuno, which is basically bottle the league form, be crap, and become a cup man. That's all that Spurs care about, right? Is cups. They want to win that trophy. So it's easy. And yeah, Man United have become a great cup club. And I think that's what they've done, Meeks. I think that's what Manchester United have actually developed themselves into, is they've sort of stepped back and gone, wait, we're still not we're still not competing in the league and how we want to. We still got a lot of issues, but I tell you what, the cups are there. The cups are there, and we need to target them. We just want to know, have Spurs sort of cottoned onto that as well? Ange Postecoglou's season, he still could get sacked, by the way. There's no doubt about it. He still could get sacked after winning that Europa League final. Spurs could do a really Spursy thing. But this guy can walk into Daniel Levy with a cigar in his hand and just go, you dare sack me. I've done what Mourinho, Conte, Pochettino could not. Win a trophy. It would be very hard to sack a man who's done what some of the greatest managers on this planet are serially known for. So, in your opinion, though, chat, who do you think is going to win that final, Man United or Tottenham? Man United qualified for the Europa League via Cup or qualified for UCL via Cup. Madness, isn't it? Madness. When you put it like that, it's madness. Well, we've got risky business that those Spurs ain't winning a thing. I can't deal with it, Michael. If they do, I really can't. The Europa League is rubbish as no one cares about it. The Champions League qualification makes it more interesting as there's actually a proper prize. Exactly. And Spurs have got to bottle it, haven't they? Yeah, big up to everyone in the chat. Great to see the interaction in the comments. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, so look, I've had my bit of a rant today. I am a bit fuming about the sort of mainstream media's portrayal of Aston Villa. Once again, we've been shafted a little bit. I think I've seen it many of times when we've all been on the same amount of points in the table, and they've called it where, like, I think it was when we were it was like we were above Chelsea at one point, and Chelsea was 7th, and they called it the top 7 race. Well, when has it ever been the top 7 race? They just wanted to get Chelsea in there. So I'm fuming at the way that Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United are all protected within the mainstream media, the Cartel 6, the Greedy 6. Quite interesting on that post as well, just a side note. I've had a lot of Newcastle fans comment on it and basically say, hey, we're not part of the Cartel 6. Don't pull us into that. Which is probably fair. It isn't Newcastle in there. I think they are excluded, and all Newcastle fans should know that they are excluded. But it's just, I think, not only us, I'm speaking on behalf of Nottingham Forest as well. It's not fair on Nottingham Forest. It's not really fair on Nottingham Forest and the work that they've done this season to get themselves in these conversations, and for them to be completely just swept under. And what they're forgetting is, as well, is that Newcastle and Chelsea play each other this weekend. Forest have Leicester. There's a real possibility that Forest, climb up again. So, yeah. But I am, as I said, very jealous of Manchester United and Tottenham. I am very envious of it, and I really wish Villa were in their position. I really wish we were in a European final in their position, and if we had dusty league form, so be it. And I even would say I wish we were in the FA Cup final and had a good chance of winning the FA Cup. And even if we were 8th or 9th in the league or 10th, I'd still take it because we're in an FA Cup final. That's what Crystal Palace fans probably feel right now. My money's on Spurs. Spurs played 3-3 against United this season. Spurs, wow. United have got a bogey team in Spurs. That's madness. That's a low blow. However, whoever does lose that, by the way, whoever loses that final, it's going to be a long night for them in terms of rival fans. It's going to be a long night. But yeah, one day will be a sexy club, Meeks. One day will be in a sexy club. Not me and you, that is. That's Forest and but yeah. Let me some people, yeah, as I said, I honestly, I'm trying to get the tweet up, but I've had some people who come in here and just they're not quite getting the a lot of Tottenham fans are really salty at are really salty at that post, right? But yeah, the world is weird, isn't it? Right, let me find the Kevin De Bruyne link then, which I was going to show you all today. Kevin De Bruyne. Now, as I said, Conte, he's trying to build something weird. He's trying to build a I think there was something where I read that Antonio Conte at Napoli can build here it is. So this was the first tweet that I've seen, and let me share this. Kevin De Bruyne then. Again, he's been linked to Liverpool. He's been linked to Napoli. We were linked to him. All very weird, but it says Aston Villa are understood to be among a host of clubs monitoring the situation of Kevin De Bruyne, but Napoli appear to be the 33-year-old's most likely destination. I can see De Bruyne in Italy. Again, good tempo, good pace for him. We've had also De Bruyne linked to the MLS. There's a lot of speculation. So we all know that Kevin De Bruyne is leaving. That's not a rumor. He's already come out and said that he's coming out to leave to Man City, and he's looking for a new home destination. I will really respect Kevin De Bruyne if he decides to move at a challenge that is much bigger, much deeper than a potential sort of Saudi league or MLS, etc. So I will say this: fair play to Kevin De Bruyne if you are going to go to Napoli. I'm trying to find there where someone said about what's going on there. But yeah, so he is a free agent. He will be able to move. And yeah, I can't find it, people. Sorry. I'm trying to find it. But yeah, he is basically allowed to go to Napoli. I think it is a high level to play. Napoli challenge for the Serie A. He also 100% can still play Champions League football, in my opinion. Kevin De Bruyne is a coup. The fact that Liverpool, were linked with him is really interesting. Now, can I see De Bruyne staying in the Premier League? Probably not. Probably not. The reason why I can't see De Bruyne staying at the Premier League is I don't think he'd want to play against Man City. I think he's quite a loyal man in that sense. And I think he'll seek a challenge elsewhere. I did think the Chicago Fire link was interesting. But yeah, Napoli under Conte, Kevin De Bruyne would be unbelievable. As AVS said, KDB can still do it at the highest level, but he's injury prone now. It's true. But maybe the pace of Italian football may help him and the way they manage their squads there. And Napoli after Super Jack too, isn't it? And Meeks is right about the physicality. Second half PSG was criminal. Just sit there and do what they want. Oh, don't. I can't. And as you said, we're still angry about previous performances that have really hurt us. And Michael, I love that you always want to be a villain. You're top man, Michael. Kevin says, either way, Spurs United won't last in the Champions League. It's not a worry. Yeah, but this is the different Kevin. They're in it to win it. They're in the Champions League. We may not be. That's my fundamental difference, is that I'd rather be in the Champions League, get knocked out than not. But then again, some Villa fans might say, hey, Europa League might suit us, a Conference League, just go try and win it. That's my goal for next year for Villa. We have to win something. I'm not actually taking anything but a win. I'll be banging that drum next season as a content creator, whether people like it or not. That Project Unai now has to deliver a trophy or a final, at least. That's the drum that I will be banging for next season, is that Project Unai needs to deliver a trophy now after his tenure that he's having. And yeah, I'm pretty set on that now. I've looked at it. I've looked at the landscape of who we're competing against. I've looked at the landscape of Chelsea. Though it's the Conference League, Maresca's come in, first season, won a dusty trophy, but he's won something. That's a winning agenda, winning mentality. It gives Chelsea time to build. I'm looking at Spurs and United winning a trophy. I'm looking at Newcastle winning a trophy. I've seen Liverpool win a trophy. I'm about to see probably Man City win the FA Cup. No disrespect to Palace. I hope they give them a game, but I think they'll do it. And so, yeah, people are winning trophies around us. And we need to start joining that gang. I don't want more of this progression of look where we are 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or look how far we've come now. I want to be look where we are now. Here's my trophy. So yeah. United are a different team in cups. No way Spurs don't bottle it, not even concerned. Honestly, I just won't be able to handle Spurs losing it. Newcastle didn't get any European football. We still get something for a first season in a row. That is probably the one positive, Michael, actually, is that though Newcastle didn't get European football, last season, we have maintained that 3 years in a row. However, Michael, here's my however. I'm trading a trophy for no European football. If we did what Newcastle did and we finished outside of European football, and you said to me, Josh, you don't get European football this season, but next season I can give you an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup, I'm going signed, sealed, delivered. Thank you very much. It's been 30 years without a trophy. I'm having it. Thank you very much. No doubt about it in my head. And I want to know how you guys would feel. If I offered you no European football next season, but you're guaranteed to win a trophy, are you taking it or are you leaving it? Because I'm starting to see it within the Villa fan base and content and whatever. And listen, I absolutely love there are other Villa fans far and wide who have different opinions, different views, and I'll never squash or question anyone's. And I think that as long as you're not abusive to someone for having their opinion, as long as you're not abusive for someone having their opinion, then it's all about letting people speak their mind. Quite frankly, I think some people are giving Unai Emery a little bit of a pass next year still. I think there is... What I'm basically trying to say is when do we as a football club, when do we as Aston Villa go, hey, look at Spurs. And this is the scenario. If Spurs win this Europa League, look at Spurs. Look at Newcastle. They've closed their trophy voodoo. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to do an Arsene Wenger? Celebrate just European football qualifying for each time and nothing else? Or are we going to do what we have got on this shirt for a reason? A star because we've won a trophy. We've got FA Cups. I'm hungry for it. I'm hungry for it. And unfortunately, as ABFC is sort of saying is, and sort of what Micah is saying is, we're absolutely plagued by this balance of European football guarantees better recruitment, better revenue, better transfers, whatever you want to say, generates more globalization. And that's for the football club. The trophy is for me and you and everyone else. A trophy is for the fans. A trophy is for the fans. And so what matters more? That one moment you get in your lifetime as a fan to see your club lift a trophy. There will be Spurs fans out there who have never seen Spurs lift a trophy. There'll be Spurs fans out there who have been continuously bantered for not winning silverware. There are even Chelsea fans who are getting angry at their barren run of competing for the Premier League. There's Chelsea fans who've got massive standards, and I like it, that they've gone like 4 or 5 years without winning the Premier League. And the fall off of Chelsea from the Premier League, and they believe they need to be right back up there. That's the standards. So I'm sort of setting that standards of why do we need to be governed by the idea of transfers and finances? Because you're not going to remember in 30 years' time, touch wood if we're all still alive, in 30 years' time, who Villa signed in the 2026-27 season. You're not going to remember that. But I'll tell you what you are going to remember. If Villa won the FA Cup in the 26-27 season, you're going to remember it. We won't remember who we signed. We won't remember how much money we made. We won't remember the revenue. But you'll remember that we won that trophy. Let me throw that to you. Let me throw that to you. You're going to remember the year in which Villa won a trophy, but you're not going to remember the year in which we signed a great player. Big up to everyone in the chat. Great to see so many opinions. Coventry, 1-1, Super Frank Lampard. Is it going to happen for him? And Fraser's granddad's a Sunderland fan. I'd rather grow the club and consistently compete rather than do a Leicester. See, that's really interesting. It's what sustainability of Leicester Football Club. They're not down and buggered because they're still in the Premier League this year and obviously going to the Championship. But I wonder if a Leicester City fan would feel so. I'd love to speak to a Leicester City fan. To win the Premier League and FA Cup in those short spaces of time, memories they'll never forget as a fan. Damn. Like, a lot of people have said this year is a year in which Villa fans will never forget because of the Champions League campaign we had. There are a lot of Villa fans who've said this is the best season they've ever had supporting Villa because of the run in which we had in the Champions League, because we've come, and the FA Cup, because we've come close to winning a trophy. It's a really interesting debate that always makes me think. Sometimes I flip-flop, I'll be honest. I've been in the camp, as some of you are in the chat, of we need European football, we need the transfers, we need the revenue, we need sustainability, we need globalization, we need to keep building and growing. And the only way to do that is Europe. And then this season has really changed my mind because we've come so close to winning a trophy, but so far. And then I've watched Newcastle do it. And I watched those Geordies celebrate. Go ask a Newcastle fan right now. What was worth more, playing in the Champions League last season or whatever, or winning that Carabao Cup? I'm sure every single Newcastle fan who was at that stadium and every Newcastle fan around the world will tell you that winning that Carabao Cup will be the best day of their footballing life. That's where we're at, chat. You know, it's a really, and you have to ask fans sometimes on what they think of that. But I get a lot of you, and a lot of you have said, like Michael said, now European football, then we build, and soon enough we regularly win trophies. But how long does that take? Because Arsenal, you could argue, qualify for Europe every year. Arsenal try and build, but they don't win trophies. You know, I'm trying to think of another club like that. You know, that you get some clubs you can qualify for Europe, but are not winning trophies regularly. So it doesn't always guarantee. Qualifying for Europe every season does not guarantee that you're going to win a trophy one day. And so I like it. I like it. But yeah, as you said, I like this. Patience, Josh. Patience, my friend. I'm hungry for it, man. Kevin, I think, and look, I absolutely love all your opinions in the chat. It is that side of the coin where I probably know that this could be our best chance. What if we don't win a trophy in our peak times and then we crash and burn financially? Or we go, you know, or we have a really poor ownership, or we have a really poor one-off season that gets us relegated. I don't know. Really far-fetched. But you know, when you're in your prime and your peak and you think, if you don't, yeah, what VJ says, you've got to strike. That's exactly it. I think that's how I want to. You've got to strike when the iron's hot. The iron's hot for Villa right now. We're in the best position, as we've sort of said. So we've got to do it now, surely. If not, it may be never. Of course, there probably isn't a never. But I hope you understand my point. And there you go. That's there. Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's a very weird one. But yeah, please do like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate that video. Trophies are obviously important in terms of ranking clubs, but look at us. We've won more than a lot of clubs, but I argue that Leicester are currently more successful than us. Interesting one. What do I always get back to it. What do I banter Arsenal fans for all the time when they try and give me chat? Talk to me when you've got a star and shirt. Talk to me when you've got a European trophy. How to kill an Arsenal fan? It's an argument. Talk to me when you've lifted big ears. But I really like all your comments. All the big clubs across Europe are only considered big club because of the amount of trophies they win. Their history is all about trophies. Big up Western. I think Western and I've seen obviously Western can't play. Western, I think, is in sort of my camp in that. I'm not calling it the Josh camp, but basically, I'm starting to see it on a lot of social media, a lot of YouTube comments and discussions. They're starting to become a camp of progression, Europe revenue versus give me a trophy right now. I might have to sort the dog out 1 second. 1 second. Ah, come on. You're nuts. Go. So there is that. There is that debate. I see it starting to split and divide, and I'm always looking at it from a perspective of, okay, what should we do about it? So yeah, big up, and who knows? Next season it may all change again. Some people may become more into the trophies side, and some people may come still. Unai needs time. I just know where I stand, and look, if you change your mind, you change your mind. Kevin's ravenous. Big up to Tots and Mega, who's a Crystal Palace fan. Good luck in the FA Cup final against Man City. And yeah, look, fair play. Michael's saying, All they've got to talk about is that one Carabao Cup. I want to talk about beating Bayern and PSG at Villa Park. Trust the process. I get that. But do you know what a banter fan would probably... do you know what probably if I was a rival fan or a banter, I would turn around to that comment and say, where's the trophy for beating Bayern Munich? That's me, by the way, being cynical, Michael, and I absolutely hear what you're saying. And that's what I get told sometimes. Oh, do you want a trophy for beating Bruyne? Well, we beat them. Yeah, but do you want a trophy for it? Where's the trophy for coming second? Where's the trophy for doing it? You know what? People always throw that argument at you. Do you want a trophy for it? Madness, really, isn't it? But yeah, really like this discussion in the chat today. Kevin says, closer and closer, semi-final Conference League, FA Cup, quarterfinals, Champions League, it's coming, guys. It really is. Kevin, you got to keep me believing. We have to learn not to bottle cup games when it counts, Josh, 100%. No matter how good we are, always seem to be... Yeah, and that's my worry is, I'm going to say this now, I don't see Newcastle bottling a cup. I think Newcastle have now got a bit of a pedigree for a cup competition. I think Newcastle have got pedigree for an FA Cup or Carabao Cup run again because they've seen it, they've felt it, they've experienced it. Villa have got this voodoo now of semi-final syndrome under Unai. We're a little bit shitting ourselves and going, fuck me, this is a massive opportunity to get for a final. And that's Matty Cash. I keep crashing on this guy, but he's basically said to us, some of the boys were a little bit nervous first time at Wembley. Oh, it's a big game, big expectations. Okay, so we're not ready, are we? So yeah, I get it. Big up to Tots Omega. He's one of our own. He's one of our own. Tots Omega. He's one of our own. Big up to you. Make sure you smash the like button. Big up to Tots. If you do want to become a member, come and join. I'd appreciate it. Come and join the clan. Tots, yeah, Crystal Palace legend. I'll get behind Crystal Palace for you. Why not? Let's stop Man City. Let's have Man City a trophy this season, shall we? Thoughts on Chelsea's performance versus Liverpool in the chat. Listen, final boss. Liverpool. So text one of my Liverpool friends said, you've let us down the weekend. He's turned around and said, no, you let yourselves down in December, January, and that shut me up. Villa have let themselves down with draws to Crystal Palace, to Brighton, to West Ham, to Ipswich, blah, blah, blah. But when I was doing my predictions, I had Liverpool down to beat Chelsea. What I completely didn't take into consideration was the fact that Liverpool would be on the beach when they played Chelsea. Every team who's got Liverpool now and Arsenal in the Premier League, I'm a little bit worried. I'm 100% telling you Arsenal are on the beach now. Arsenal are absolutely demoralised. They've got nothing to play for. And that is, I think anyone who's got the Gunners will get a result. Same against Liverpool now. And obviously they're going to win the Conference League. Is it Real Betis or Fiorentina they're playing? Final boss. But yeah, it's annoying. Basically, Chelsea still could have finished below Villa if Liverpool didn't. Yeah, I don't know. Damn it. Stone Villa, so nice to have to take our chances. Absolutely. Beating Bayern shows that what we're actually capable of, and we're still at the beginning of the build, 100%. First team is top quality, and all players seem to love it there. Is that Newcastle? Yeah. Big up to Donovan from Kingston, Jamaica. Big up. Still going down from the FA Cup, 100%. Martin says, Josh, I'm late saying this should be the Champions League, not just be for champions. In schools these days, yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy, Martin. As I said, apparently now if you win the second tier European competition, you're good enough to be in the Champions League. You could even argue, although this doesn't help Villa, you could even argue, isn't finishing fifth a little bit of a stretch to say you're good enough for the Champions League? Is finishing fifth a little bit of a stretch to say you're good enough for the Champions League? I think so. I would love to see. I think there's a world Man City finish second, Arsenal third. No joke. I see Arsenal third. I hope it happens. Real Betis, okay. Anthony season clutching incoming. Anthony to haunt Chelsea. Listen, if Chelsea don't win that Conference League, damn. To be fair, we'd take 14th and, to be fair, probably would. Everyone know I won it. They could drop out top four. Listen, Arsenal could be in trouble. 2-1 Sunderland. Christ. Could be Sunderland, Sheffield United in playoff finals. I think everyone wants Sunderland back in the big time, don't they? Massive following, the Sunderland, the Black Caps, yeah. But yeah. Michael, I've seen your comments on that. I just think Matty Cash's timing was crap. And second of all, Michael, there is a little bit of an excuse culture in there. However, I will agree with you that at least he's not spouting the same old media trained nonsense that you get robotic from players. Like, you get those same speeches and same lines. So I'll give you that one. But I think that there was an excuse culture in there from Matty Cash that I'm really not a fan of. So there we go. Right, finally on this Bournemouth game then. Bournemouth must win. We must win against Bournemouth. Well, let's put it this way. We haven't won our last 3 games at Bournemouth away. I believe we've had 2 draws and a loss. We don't do well there. I think our last win at Bournemouth was 10 years ago in 2015. We seem to struggle at the Vitality. And I've had to think about this. I was on the Villa Park podcast last night and we talked about the team lineups. Okay, now thinking about the pitch at the Vitality, do not expect to see wingers tomorrow. Do not expect to see Leon Bailey, Donyell Marlon tomorrow at all. I absolutely believe that we'll go really narrow. Why? Bournemouth's pitch is narrow, it's small, it's compact. Tactically, I think Unai Emery, when he plays on these smaller pitches, look what he did at Crystal Palace's pitch. It's a terrible pitch. He goes narrow. And then he tries to play fullback, bless you, or overlapping wing backs. I think we go narrow at Bournemouth. Yeah, kickoff is 5:30 tomorrow night. Well, tomorrow evening. So again, Sky will be lapping it up. We get to see other teams play. I think Newcastle Chelsea is on the Sunday. So I'm expecting Villa to go narrow, compact, and hard to beat. How ironic that we won the 2015 team, which was disgusting. It is. Look, we are overdue a win. So my point is with the lineup, I think Unai goes narrow. I think he goes compact. I think he overloads the midfield, and I think we could see a situation where we have Kamara, Onana, McGinn, and Ross Barkley with Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins. I think if I was to actually think of a team, I think he goes with the 4, Cash, Konsa, Howell Mings, Dean or Matson. I don't know which way he goes yet. But then I think the midfield, I think he boxes up the midfield. I think he goes Kamara, Onana, McGinn, Barkley, Rogers, Watkins. You know that formation he's been playing against Newcastle and PSG, where he boxes up that midfield? I think he goes there and tries to do that. Now, whether that's the right thing, whether that's the wrong thing, whether that's what we want to see as fans, I think Unai goes really compact. We won't see Asensio. We won't see Don Mallon. We won't see those two. And he'll box it out. And we'll have to wait for the danger men, the wingers, to do their thing and come off the bench and do it. So, yeah. But, yeah, it was that 2015 team was... See if I can quickly get that 20... I'll quickly show you the form and we'll get that 2015 team up and then we're going to wrap up. People, make sure you're smashing the like button. Frank Lampard's Coventry have got a big thing to do, which is to turn around a 2-1 deficit in second leg. Just having a look. In the top 4 race tomorrow, we've got... Well, top 5 race. Only Man City and they've got Southampton away. So that is the biggest W that Man City will have. So it doesn't really influence us. But here we go. Head to head. Look at how minging this is. But Bournemouth is like our Palace. That's why it's a bit of a weird one tomorrow. Right, let me share this. Okay. So, we drew at our place. We then obviously beat them last season 3-1 at home, but let's look at the away ties. We drew 2-2. We drew 2-2. We lost 2-0, and we've lost 2-1. Last 3 games at Bournemouth ground, we've lost. We've lost 2. Oh gosh, what happened there? Sorry. No. Oh dear. Right, there we go. We've lost 2, drawn 1. As I said, if you go back to 2015, which is the last time we won, look how bad this team was. Bournemouth battered us, by the way. Look how bad this Villa team was in 2015, right? Guzan in goal. Bacuna, Richards, Mika Richards, actually starting a game of football. Clark, Amavi, Jordan Vital. Yeah. Idrissa Gana-Gueye, Ashley Westwood, Gabby Agbonlahor even playing, IU and Scott Sinclair. And I think the goal scorer was Gusted. There it is. I remembered. Rudy Gusted scored. There's some funny players. Gusted, Sanchez, Kieran Richardson. You got Alan Hutton on the bench, Joe Cole on the bench, Mark Bunn, Baker. Look, Mingsy. Look, Tyrone Mings was actually playing for Bournemouth. Oh, that's funny. Tyrone Mings was actually playing for Bournemouth on that day. Football's so weird, isn't it? Football's so weird. So, yeah, that was our last win. But if we go to the draw, which is December 20, I'm wondering what the Villa team was there. Let's have a look at the stats quickly on that day. Oh, wow, we battered them in possession again. But look at Bournemouth's expected goals. 2.02, 15 shots, 7 on target. Villa only had 3 shots on target that day. So we took a bit of a battering, it seems. Watkins looks like he got on the score sheet. Semenyo scored. Solanke scored for them. Who do we have then? So we had Martinez in goal, Conza, Carlos. So we got Conza, Carlos, Conza will play, Powell will play, Luca Dean, we still got McGinn. Obviously, Yuri's with us, no Dougie, Bailey scoring. And then Watkins and Zaniolo. So, yeah, a weird old side back then. A weird old side. But, yeah, that was the last time we drew them, a familiar faces. And that's what I said. We've not got a great record at Bournemouth. And we have to turn that around. Rudy Gusted, nutter in it. I can't make up my mind. If a draw is a good result in Newcastle, Chelsea, I think it's the worst. I think we've got to get behind Newcastle. Don't know why. I think we need Newcastle to win tomorrow against Chelsea on Sunday. So there we are. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up now. Big up to everyone. As I said, thank you for all your comments there and the debate. As you said, I've shown why I'm fuming and jealous. And I'm still going to be fuming probably tomorrow at the way in which this mainstream media. I'm still getting notification after notification of either abuse or people supporting me on my stance on that. I'm jealous of Tottenham and Man United, 100%. I'm not afraid to say that. KDB to Villa, 100% won't happen, but we're still monitoring him. And Bournemouth is a must-win game. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be all good for the watch-along tomorrow. As I said, Star has a football tournament. I think we've got to be there at 1 o'clock, and I think it maybe starts at 2. The sun's shining. Heidi and me and Star will be there. Sun cream on. Hopefully we get back in time. It is only just around the corner from where we live, so we've got a good chance. There's a 5:30 kickoff. Even if we start a little bit later, we'll be rocking it. So big up to everyone for the watch along. Yes, Meeks, you might have to go and troll them for me. But yeah, big up to each and every single one of you. Positivity tomorrow, exactly, Michael. Let's go and have positive vibes. Let's go beat Bournemouth tomorrow, and let's get our Champions League, push. One last push. One last push for Champions League. I think someone said to me, it was actually Wolfie, the Nottingham Forest fan. Do you know what he said to me? He said to me, if you beat Bournemouth, I think you'll get Champions League, because he thinks we'll beat Tottenham and Man United. He's actually telling me that if we beat Bournemouth, we'll do that. So I'll take that. I need James should be at the game, not on the watch along. Yes, he won't be able to troll us, Captain. Exactly that. Big up to you, Captain. Right, I'm out of here. Big up to everyone who's been in the chat today. Really appreciate it. All you guys, Captain John, AVSC Michael, VJ Meeks, Kevin. Big up to you guys as well. Big up to Martin, big up to Mum and Dad, big up to Fraser, big up to Black Country Villain, big up to the final boss, big up to Donovan, big up to everyone, big up to Starry, big up to Heidi, big up to the Big C, big up to 85, big up to everyone. We're out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. It is Friday, yeah. Big up to the rest of your Friday night. I'll see you all locked in tomorrow, wherever rain, soul, shine, whatever time it is. I'm out of here. Ta-da.